Okay, we're back with the 2015 TDI Jetta. We're going to be doing the rear brake assembly, and a few things I want to go over with you is before you assemble the brakes, I like to do some thread chasing, and to do the thread chasing on those parts in the back here, I have a M8 by 1.25, okay, and that's going to be for your caliper pins. That's going to chase that. Then I have a M14 by 1.5. And I do believe this is for the hub for the where the lug nuts go. And then I have an M14 by 1.5. This is also going to clean your lug nuts. So this will be for the interior hole, and this is for the bolt itself. And then I have a M8 by 1.2, and not sure what I used this one on. Oh, that's going to be for the carrier bolts. So, and these had a little bit of thread locker on them, so I'm going to be putting on just a dab of thread locker on the ends of these. See, there's a little bit of residual there in the threads. And then did I go over the M12 by 1.5? And that's going to be used for the carrier bolts here. These, which is this is an M14, I believe what they call a triple square. I always just call them a spline, but this is going to be the chaser for those. And honestly, with a lot of this stuff, it's one-time use hardware. This is probably a one-time use thing. So if that's what it is, you got to get yourself new hardware. I'm not going to this particular time. So, and one of the tools we're going to be needing to use in this job is your your disc caliper tool. And I've got what is J, and I've got I, and then for this particular disc that you need is disc F, which is going to be that one right there. And that goes on the end of this, like so. So let's go ahead and get into this, and we'll start and see what we can do. All right, first thing we're going to need is the rotor. And these are directional rotors, so you have to make sure you have the right one for the correct side. Now this is a T27 Torx screw. I'm going to be using our T27 Torx for that. Make sure we're going the correct way here. And this just has to be tight. It doesn't have to be super tight. Now that that's on, we're going to go ahead and put our carrier back on. So let me go grab that. Now, in preparation with the carrier, you're going to want to pull the pins. And that's these carrier pins here. They pull out, then you give them fresh brake grease in there, and then you're also going to want to grease the parts where the brake's supposed to slide. So you're just going to feed it to the back and line up those holes. And once you're lined up, you can just start screwing it together. Okay, I think that started on that one. Okay, now we're going to use our 14 millimeter spline or triple bit or triple square. Now that's supposed to be torqued at about 90 Newton meters, I do believe, about 66 foot-pounds, and then a quarter of a turn or something like that. I just do it really, really tight because it's extremely hard to get a torque wrench in there, let alone a regular wrench. So. Okay. Now that that's on, I'm gonna make sure that we clean off any oils that we might have got on there by inadvertently touching the grease. Okay. Now we're going to put the pads on there, and I've greased the pads backing. Those are greased. And then we're going to go ahead and try to place them on there. Make sure it's up against there good. It seems to be. Make sure I don't get any grease on the rotor or the pads. now, oh, we've got to use that tool I was speaking of, which earlier. Where did I stick it? It's over there. So it goes like this. Let me show you how this goes together in case you don't know. This piece goes over this piece like that. And then you get the corresponding disc, which is disc F. Okay. It goes together like this. And it fits right in here. And those two notches on the front on that disc fit into the little slots inside of the caliper. And once you tighten this piece up here, then you can use this handle to retract the caliper. And time to time you might tighten this up because it's going to get loose. Okay, when it stops, and you can back the tension off of this. Gotta go the right way. Probably need a wrench. Helps if you have a wrench. Okay, and then up at the top, you just push this pin in, and then down at the bottom to clear it. All right, we're going to about the top first here. Go ahead and get this in, and I said earlier we're going to use a little bit of Loctite. Blue stuff, it doesn't need to be the heavy duty stuff. We're just going to go ahead and put some on there. Let's get started. So we're going to do the same thing with the other pin. Get that one started, and then we'll go ahead and tighten those down. And those only need around 25, I believe, foot-pound of torque. I'll have to look that up. I just do them till they're tight. And then you'll need a 13 millimeter, and I have a 15 millimeter. Let's see. So I got this little gear wrench I'm going to use. I'm going to stick it on top of this nut here, and then I'm going to use this 13 millimeter to tighten it. And this part does not need to be super tight. Really, it's just tighten up there. Okay, then we're gonna go down to it's the same thing down at the bottom. One wrench on the one nut and one on the other. Oops. I went the wrong way, I think. It's not going in there. I had it in there and I popped it out. Went the wrong way. All right, and then the next step is just to wipe it all down, get that stuff scraped off, and then I can go ahead and put the lug nuts back in and make sure everything as far as lug nuts are concerned are torqued to the proper specs. And then I can take the car down and go ahead and bed in the brakes, and then the job will be finished. Thank you so much.